Welcome to week 2 of Belly Dancing for Beginners with me, Lindsey Marie Silver, here at Little Egypt Studio in Scotland. In this session, we're going to build on what we did the last time, looking at slides. We're going to use those as a warm-up to lead us then into working with hip circles and chest circles. Such a fundamental movement and a very versatile one. They're very soothing for your body and they can even be a natural pain relief. Let's dive in. Join me in coming into alignment. Let's spread out through the toes. Relax and release through the feet and the ankles. So we're going to recap through then that basic stance. Let's bring, with that bend in the knees, the hips into neutral. Now neutral for you, if you sway your hips forwards and back, and then find that center point between the two, where your tailbone gently faces closer to the ground, where you can also relax through your legs. We're going to sweep relaxation up through back, round through belly, and into the waist. Let's send that relaxing, healing, soothing energy all the way from belly, all the way around to your whole body. And into center here, up through the rib cage. We can extend through the rib cage an inch or two. Up to shoulders. Bring the shoulders forwards and up. Start to bring the shoulders back. And as you bring them down, bring the shoulder blades together, slide them down your back. Opening naturally up through the chest, and you'll probably find that your hands have rotated from the palms facing behind you to naturally they want to open up towards the sky, open up towards your future and towards life. And with that opening up through the chest all the more, relax your shoulders down here, bringing the spine into alignment all the way through to the crown of the head. Raising the crown of the head slightly and allowing the tailbone just to sink that bit deeper with that bend through the knees. This is your basic stance, and initially it probably feels a little bit odd, but the more that you do this, the more natural it begins to feel. So resting in that basic stance from there. Let's have a little bit of a recap on the breathing technique that we enjoyed. So we discussed in the last session that chest breathing. It's right up here, it's very shallow. Perhaps you could do just a few of those. And then that'll remind you what it feels like to then take a nice deep nourishing breath using the full capacity of your lungs. Expand your belly, expand the chest with the breath. You can suspend the breath and then begin to release the breath entirely. And as you do that, you can encourage this cleansing effect of the breath into your body, cleansing through every single cell as you breathe deeper and more into alignment. So you're fueling the muscles now as you're using them. So you can dance for longer without fatiguing. And it also looks more elegant, and it definitely is more health-giving. So with that in mind, what we then did in the last session, in that full alignment and breathing deeply, we started to have a little look at some techniques known as slides. So you had then the slide of the hips. And if you'd like to deeply recap on the technique of that, you can of course find that video on the playlist on YouTube, and I'll be more than happy to guide you through that technique fully within that session. So we worked with the slide of the hip, and you're bringing the hip out to the side, one side and then through the other. Shifting your weight. Let's now try that movement up through the rib cage, and we had a little shot of that in the last session as well. So we're literally using these movements right now as the warm-up for this session. Sliding all the way through, of course warming up through your body, but also warming up through your mind as you remember everything that we did and that good technique that we want to focus on. So keeping that alignment through the shoulders, lengthening through the waist. Let's try a little bit faster through the hips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2. Try again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2. Let's try up the top with the ribcage. 3, 4, 4, 3, 2. And again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2. Wow, well done. You can bring your hands down by your side. Everybody says, oh, that feels good, just to release out there. It's funny, often you don't realize when you're dancing that you're really, really toning and strengthening muscles as you're using them. Sometimes it's not until you stop dancing you think, wow, I've really worked hard. It can be quite a workout. And so we had that slide of the hip, slide of the chest, and then we then had a little bit of fun with trying that slide of the head. So you can bring your hands out in this gentle elevation. And then what we did is we brought the ears out to the side. So we're forming here a straight line through the eyes or the ears. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Yes, well done everybody who's joining me here. That looks incredible, that looks amazing. So what the head's gonna want to do is of course come down like this. So you wanna just gently guide that. However, movements of the head and the neck are not for everyone. So if that feels a little bit, ooh, not too sure about that, you don't need to do it. What you can gently do is just bring your head forwards, bring your chin to your chest, lengthen out the back of your neck, bring it back into center. Nice. Take your head over ear towards your shoulder and bring it back into center. You can take that to the other side. Other ear to your shoulder. Bring it back into center. Well done, amazing. We spoke about the use of sternocleidomastoid in lifting and lowering the rib cage, and that's one of the muscles within the upper body that's really, really incredible to lengthen out before you begin dancing. Okay, so what we're gonna have a look at in this session is we're gonna enjoy the circles. So circles, we think about life, okay? Circles are everywhere around us. They're around us in nature, seemingly all the time. If you look at your eyeballs, they're round also, aren't they? Okay, so the echoing of nature, and in studies that I've done, and I've done lots of research over the years, and it seems to me that ancient civilizations considered the circle movement within a dance or a ritual movement meditation as being the past, the present, the future, and something else anonymous, the unknown. So you could, if you want to, think of that as you go through this movement. So first of all, what we're going to do is have fun with a basic hip circle. And this is going to be flat. It's going to be parallel with the ground. So if this was, if your hips were a coin, you've popped that coin down on the ground, and then what you're going to do is you're going to pop your finger on top of it and slide it round in a circular motion like that. It doesn't come up at the sides of the coin all wibbly wobbly, like when you drop a coin down and it goes It's not doing that. It's like literally down on the ground and it's sliding round. It stays level, flat. Okay. There's a joke in there somewhere about flat earth theory and sort of round theory. Is round theory a thing? I don't know. Anyway, I'll leave you to create that joke. Here we go. And so, what you're going to be doing is using your hips to create a circular motion. Now, I want to show you this in almost like a diamond formation, first of all, so you can get an idea of what it feels like to create the movement planes that are in use. So first of all, we're actually going to do one of those slides of the hip that we did, where you're drawing your hip out to the side and it stays flat. It stays parallel with the floor. Out to the side, slide. Okay, so this is one of the two planes of movement that you're going to be using in this basic circle of the hip. So we have that, okay? So keep that going. And the other movement plane that we have is bringing your hip forwards and back. So I want you just to try, slide your hip directly forwards. Now you've got that bend through your knee, so it's not like, we're not like this, we're bending through the knee and you're coming straight forward. Then try bring it back into center, and then try bring it back. Now as you bring your hips back, here's where I want you to think about the placement of your hips in terms of anterior tilt, posterior tilt, and neutral, okay? So as you come forwards, try keep your pelvis facing down towards the ground. So we don't tilt it up like this, we don't tilt it back like that. It's centered. Then we're going to slide back into center. Now when you come back into center, I want you to try your best to come back into your basic stance that we've had a little shot of a moment ago. And then as you draw your hip back, now you might find that if you've got short, strong muscles through your back and through your hip flexors, like most of us actually have, your hips want to do this. So you might find yourself wanting to stick your bum out like that. We're going to tuck the bum under, use your pelvic floor muscles to help you do that, and you're going to draw the hips back like this, almost as though you're going to go into a squat position. Yeah, so it's not here, it's here. Okay, hopefully this makes sense right now. If not, feel free to drop a little comment there for me. I'll answer any questions that you have on that. So we're going to come forwards, come through center, take it back. You can bring your hands out in front if it helps to steady you. We're going to bring the hips forwards and back. Forwards, through center, and back. Into center. A little bit faster maybe. We can come forwards. Center, back. Center, forward. Center, back. Center, forward. Center, back. Center, forward, center, back, center, forward, center, back. Well done. So in a diamond formation, what we're going to do is we're going to use those two different planes of movement to create that diamond shape. So what I'll get you to do this time is to bring your hips in your basic stance, of course, with your body. Start from the feet, knees, hips, rib cage, shoulders, alignment, deep breath here. And as you breathe out, the first thing we're going to do, let's drive the hip forwards. Well done. Then we're going to take it out to the side. You're going to slide your hip out to the side. So as you slide your hip out to the side, you're almost kind of coming across on diagonal to come out to the side. Then what I want you to do is draw the hip back. Bring it back. Good. Well done. Excellent. Let's take it out to the other side now. As you come out to the other side, there's that little diagonal happening as well. So that whole time, I want you to try, keep your hips in neutral. Okay, let me turn, and then let's try that a little bit faster. Let's try a bit faster. Okay, here we go. We'll do it slow first, and then we'll ease ourselves into a little bit faster. So let's try forwards, out to the side. Then bring it back and out to the side. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're marking out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then what we're going to do is we're going to extend outwards in each direction. So rather than cutting across the corners there, we're going to fill in that gap, really extend that movement outwards. You're going to allow the hip to make that gorgeous, that delicious big circular motion. Shall we try that? Well, let's give it a shot. Here we go. So you're in that basic stance. Do your checklist from your feet all the way through up throughout your whole body. That way you're not going to forget anything. You can elevate your arms if you would like to. And then we're going to come forwards, 2, to the side, 4, bring it back, 6, all the way out, 8. Coming forwards, 2, 3, 4. Bring it back, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're going to come forwards, round to the side, bring it round to the back, round, bring it forward, yes, to the side, round to the back, nice, to the side, bring it forwards. If you feel to, you can complete that movement in one circular motion now. Now, just take a moment to notice, are your hips still level, parallel with the floor? If you find that your hips are naturally doing this kind of wibbly wobbly, coming out of neutral, pivot motion, just observe that right now. I don't want you to get frustrated about that. Just observe that perhaps that's happening to you. And there can be a few reasons why this can creep in when you're doing a hip circle. One of them is perhaps you still are warming up. Perhaps, here's the second one, you don't yet have the full flexibility that's required in order to keep the hips directly in alignment with the ground. The third thing can be maybe you don't fully understand the concept yet of what it is to have one aspect of your body in alignment and the rest in another alignment, and that will just come over time. Okay, so whilst we're here then, let's think about what is one way that we can really encourage that alignment and give you the most depth of movement. So maybe you've done this movement before and now you're ready to actually really maximize on all of your potential of your hip circle. So one of the things that you can do straight away with your hip circle to make it much more refined and defined and bigger is to take an even bigger bend through your knee as you come into that alignment, that basic stance that you have. So if you have a bigger bend through your knee, it means that you're more able then to use your knees as a sort of recalibrating. So you can bend more through one knee as your hip comes out over it, and that way it's going to rebalance and restabilize to keep you level. So that's one thing you can do, is really bend through your knees, and as your hip comes out over your knee, you're going to add more of a bend through that side. And then as you draw the hips back, let's say, you're going to rebalance so that both knees have exactly equal amount of bend through them when you're either forwards or back. But when you come out to either side, you've got more of a bend through that side as the hip comes out this way, or you've got more of a bend through the knee on this side as your hip comes that way. So that's one thing we can do, is really bend through the knees. Another thing that you can do is you can allow your waist to lengthen. So you can allow your waist to really lengthen as you bring the hip out towards the side. So we're here. So if you do that, you'll find that automatically this stretching sensation here enables, yes, the hip to stay level. So the other thing that you can do to really encourage that alignment is you could practice this in front of a mirror. You could wear, such as I am, a hip scarf where you can literally align the top edge of your hip scarf with the ground, and then you can keep an eye on it and sort of, is it level? The other thing you can do is you can actually place your hands on the outside of your hips. So not on your waist, but actually down on your hip bones. I would say a nice place to have your hands for this movement would be on the widest part of your hip. So you can identify for yourself where that is for you. Place your hands on the widest part of your hip and literally feel as you go into that movement, and just feel and guide yourself perhaps with your hands. Just feel that movement. Where are you level? Where have you perhaps come out of a level alignment? Good. good, well done. So there we've covered not only how to create that movement, but also how you can define and refine the movement. So this movement itself, although it is a hip circle, there's actually a lot of this movement is coming from your knees. It's coming from the thigh muscles and the hamstrings as well. And it's also coming from your hip flexors, right at the front of your hip here. If you have tension through the front of your hips, it might knock your hips out of alignment, and then that can make that a little bit trickier for you to try and create that straight line. So just practicing a little bit of lengthening out through your hip flexors can really, really help for that. A stretch that's really good for that, if you'd like it, is coming down here and really lengthening out through the hip flexor there. You can do the same on the other side. Whether you want to do this with me right now is totally up to you, but I just literally want to show you this because it's incredibly beneficial for keeping your hips neutral, for really, really opening up the depth of movement that's available to you. So if you were down on the ground, just gently coming back into center, let's take a little spot of hydration. We're going to have fun with more hip circles in a moment. I want to also let's get into the flow of doing it on the other side of the body as well, so that we're not forming this lopsided kind of, I can dance really great on this side of my body, but this side just, it doesn't even know what to do with itself. So we're going to dance both sides so that you feel like a really equal, well-balanced dancer. And then we're going to have fun with the circles in another part of the body. So, wow, help yourself to a little spot of hydration and join me back in center in just a moment. All right, so amazing. How did that feel? Did you like it? Pretty cool, huh? So on the other side, so this side we just came this way and round. So this time we can bring it forwards and bring the hip out to the other side. So we're just gonna have a few rounds of taking that round the other way. Nice. Now, perhaps integrating some of those techniques that we mentioned about keeping it nice and level using that extra bend of your knee. Perhaps you want to try placing your hands on your hips at the widest part so you can really feel the movement and notice maybe where things, perhaps you get to a point where you think, I was good up to there, but I could really do with working on this aspect of the movement. So have a little shot of that, and also allowing the waist to really lengthen out. Really lengthening out through there. Nice. So if you'd like a very simple stretch for encouraging the lengthening and the releasing of your waist, and for the spine itself, we're going to do that towards the end of the session, and I'll point that stretch out for you then as well. All right, so that is your circles of the hip, basic circle, how you can make it even more incredible. It feels good, it looks good, and like we said, the past, the present, the future, anon, anonymous, the unknown. So you could consider that as the past, the present, the future, anon. The past, the present, the future, anon. We can take it the other way. The past, the present, the future, anon. The past, present, future, anon. Wow. So with your circle, you can dance circles in many, many parts of your body. This has been the circling of the hips. Another one I wanted to just have a little look at in this session is the circling of your chest, your ribcage circle. So for that, let me show you that in a diamond formation. So similar principle, only this time we're working with the ribcage, and you're going to keep the rest of your body fairly steady and stationary. In the next session, I'm going to have a little bit of a look at anchoring with you, and you'll also find deeper knowledge of that at the moment on our playlist on YouTube. So we're here. So for this one, what we need to do is to work with that formation of the slide of the rib cage that we did a moment ago as we were warming up. So you're going to slide through your rib cage. Now, the lowest point of your rib cage, you can actually use your hands and feel into that if you want. It's the lowest section of your rib cage creates the biggest aspect of the movement. So we had the slide. The second plane of movement here is, of course, coming forwards and back in the way that we did with your hips. So you're going to come forwards, and then you're going to come all the way back. So you're going to lift and come forwards, and then you're going to lower and drop back. Lift to come forwards and lower to come back. Now, let's have a little look at how we're actually achieving that. We spoke about the chest slide in the last session, but this lifting and lowering of the rib cage is new to you, perhaps. So here, we're going to extend through the rib cage to lift it upwards and outwards, and we're going to do that by using the muscles on the back. So in between your shoulder blades, you're going to naturally contract as you lift upwards. So there's a squeeze happening here and a release happening here in your upper abs. Maybe a little bit of mid-abs as well. So there's a release on one side of the body and a contraction on the other side of the body. Then what we're going to do to lower the rib cage back down again is reverse that. So we're going to flip that muscle pairing in which is active and which is relaxing. So this time we're going to lower the rib cage, and we're going to do that by using which muscles? So which muscles do you think we're going to use? So if we're here, and to lift, we've used the muscles on the back in between your shoulder blades. To lower down, we're going to be using your upper abdominals and a little bit of your chest. So pectoralis major and minor as well. So upper abs and your chest. So we're going to lower with those muscles. Now, as we contract and strengthen and shorten the muscles on the front of the body then and lower the rib cage down, what happens on the back of the body in between your shoulder blades, the ones we had been working? Those lengthen and relax. Okay, so let's have a little bit of fun working with those muscle pairings. So you're going to lift and lower, lift and lower, lift and lower. Now, as we do this, I want you just to note that your whole body is in that alignment with that gorgeous open chest posture, and your hips are steady in that stance. What you're going to find happen as you create this movement is that your hips are going to want to tilt like this. They're going to want to tilt. Cheeky hips. But what we're going to do is we're going to utilize the muscles of pelvic floor. So all the way from your bum, all the way underneath your body and up towards your belly button. We're going to engage through those muscles just enough to help keep the hips there. You can also utilize a little bit of your calf muscles and towards the upper thigh. Relax your knees, and then you're going to find you can really begin to move in there. So in the chest circle then, we're utilizing those two planes of movement. So that's your slide and the lifting and lowering of the rib cage. So shall we have a little shot of just trying with a ribcage circle? Let's have fun with that. So whether or not you've done this movement before, I'm going to be also giving you some tips on how you can make that even bigger. So we're here. And then you can elevate your hands to the side if you want to. Helps to stabilize you. You might want to bring a little bit wider footing through your feet just to help you with that stabilization as well. Really big bend through your knees. Engage through your pelvic floor muscles to keep your hips steady. Now, just as we did with the hip circle, I want you just to try lift through your rib cage forwards, first of all, up and out, lifting through rib cage. And then you're going to slide on diagonal, bring the rib cage out to the side. Good, well done. Then we're going to draw back and use the muscles of your upper abs and your chest. So you've drawn the rib cage back. And then we're going to take it out to the side, the other side, on diagonal there. Let's try that again. So we're going to lift out slide. Bring it back and slide. Lift up and out to the side. Bring it back and slide. Bit faster. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Bit faster. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we got forwards, side, bring it back to the side. Forwards, side, to the back, other side. Wow, amazing. How did that feel? It's quite a lot to work with all at once. Does it feel a bit like doing this? You're getting there, you're doing amazing. Let's try that in the other direction now, shall we? So we're here. Ready? And we're gonna lift forwards, 2 to the side, 3, 4, bring it back, 5, 6, out to the side, 7, 8, lift up, 1, 2, side, 3, 4, 5, 6, we come back, 7, 8, a little bit faster this way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let me just do that towards you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, are your hips in neutral? Are the knees nice and soft? Well done. Good. Lift, 2, 3, 4. Lift, 2, 3, 4. We're going to bring that into a circle now. If you feel ready, we're going to push out on the edges, bring it all the way around. Now, remember I said to you that the largest movement pattern here is coming from the low section of rib cage. So your low section of rib cage, that is what's making the biggest circle. Now here, what can be useful for some people is to place your hands down on your hips and really then anchor through your hips as you draw the rib cage round in that circular motion. Well done. This is really incredibly toning and strengthening for all of your core muscles, for your upper abs, your back. Wow, should we try the other way? Maybe a bit faster? Reverse. Wow. Other side. Make it nice and soft through your waist. Amazing. Let's come into the hip. We're going to work with the circle of the hip. Bring it all the way around. Out to the side. And we're going to reverse that. Try the other direction. Whee. You're going to keep that hip line nice and level. Wow, well done. You can place your hands down on your hips if you would like to. Had a little bit of a hiccup then. Let's try the rib cage. One direction. And the thing with circles is they are so deeply soothing. They're soothing for your whole body. Let's take it around the other way. They're soothing for each of your organs. So as we work with the rib cage circle, it's gorgeous for your lungs. And as we work with the hip circle, it's incredible for your digestive system, particularly, incidentally, if you're traveling that round in a clockwise direction. There's something you didn't know. It's also incredible pain relief. Let's take it around the other way. So if you had a sore tummy, you could work with perhaps that hip circle. Wow! Coming into center. Let's bring the hands all the way up. Take a nice big wide stance. Release that down. All the way upwards and bring it down. So what we had then was a slide. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ribcage slide. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Head slide. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hip circle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's take the other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ribcage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Take it back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wow. Woohoo! That was absolutely gorgeous. I'm already thoroughly looking forward to showing you things like shoulder circles, circles through your wrist, as well as in the next session, we're going to have a little look at some figures of 8 and also some shimmies. Woohoo! I cannot wait for that. Let's come into center. And let me show you that stretch that I spoke about. That's really going to help you add depth to your movement. It's also going to help you keep your hips in alignment throughout movements like your slides and circles. So we're lengthening through the waist here. We're also increasing flexibility through the spine. Keep that open through your chest. Deep breath here. And as you breathe out, we're going to come all the way back through center. You could take that to the other side as we lengthen out. Lengthen all the way through there. Keep it nice and open. Nice deep breath here. As you breathe out, coming back into center. And just for a moment, we're going to bring our hands up towards the sky. You can bend through your knees. We're going to come into tabletop position and then come through that tabletop to bring the crown of the head down to the ground. I want to just take a moment just to release out, ragdoll out through your body. Perhaps you can bring a gentle, slight bit of motion round towards one foot and back through center and round towards the other, just to release and lengthen out through your waist and your back. Softening down and coming into center here. Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe out, wow. Taking a moment to notice how you feel in your body now. Who knew you could feel so much stronger, so much more toned from such simple movements? Movements that have been with us for thousands of years. Wow, it is an honor and a pleasure to pass them on to you. Hope you've enjoyed this. I cannot wait to share with you the next session. I'll see you then.